Hello, I am Annika Schulman, a Centered Riding Level 3 instructor from Finland. I want to share with you some ideas on how to teach riders about center and grow. I'm going to share my screen with you and show some videos. Center and grow has been an important thing for myself also. When I started with centered riding many years ago, the growing made using my center much easier. When we ride from our center, when you add the grow, to me it meant more stability, and it was easier to influence the horse like that. In this video, we have 4 riders. Greta is 7 years old, has been riding with her mom, but this is her first real riding lesson. Antti has been riding for about 1 year. Kaisa is already an experienced hobby rider, and Mia is a Grand Prix rider. We will start with Greta. With Greta, we started a lesson already in the stable. I got her to choose some stickers. I had different kinds of stickers, and she chose the pink flowers. I put a sticker on her head to be able to remind her about the growing then while riding. I put stickers on her heels, and I put 1 sticker on her tail. And starting this way, it made her focus already here on her lesson. And she thought it was quite special to get these stickers. Here we have the first video about Greta. We're starting in the standstill. I'm going through the stickers with her again, and then I'm going to have her on the launch line. I'm taking the sound of this video because I'm teaching in Finnish here. There's her heel stickers. Then I ask her about the head sticker. Can you grow up there? Yes. Then I ask her to go to light seat and reminding her of the tail sticker and grow a long tail. She will stay in the light seat leaning on her hands, and I will ask the horse to walk on the launch line. And I'm also telling her to bend her knees a bit. I use the light seat with the beginner riders, but also a lot with all kinds of rider actually. And then also when sitting down, the growing upwards and downwards. We take this once again. I think about the growing as growing both upwards and downwards, because if you think about a tree or a plant, it will grow upwards towards the sun, but it will also grow downwards and developing roots down in the soil. And here Greta is thinking of her funny tail. And moving with the horse. I want the riders to first learn how to move with the horse, how to follow the horse, and then after that comes the influencing part of the riding. Here we have the next video with Greta. Starting in the light seat and then going to trot in the light seat. And changing from light seat to rising trot. And this is how I will do also always with beginners, to have the light seat, then the rising trot, and then the sitting trot. I'm asking her to push with 1 hand forward, and then when that's okay and feels safe, I ask her to push with both hands forward. Since Greta has been riding since she was really little, about 3 years old, she is very used to holding on with her hands. But now she's such a big girl that she can start to ride, influence more the horse. And that's why I now will ask her to let go of having the hands on the saddle. But she needs a job for those hands, what to do with the hands then. And that's why I'm asking her to push with her hands forward. And that way the rider's body will learn that the horse's movement goes forward. And this is the way how to stay with the horse in that movement so that she won't fall backwards when the horse starts to move more forward. And with this young rider, we have to do these like short moments, and she will also get to ride by herself so that she doesn't need to focus so much every second, but having also some little bit more independent time. Then we go on to the next rider, and that is Antti. Who has been riding with me for about 1 year. Here in the first picture, we are using the light seat also with him. I'm reminding him with my hands of his center and to stay in his center also in the light seat. And when you're using the hands on the horse's neck, you can push a little bit, and if needed, push also yourself a bit backwards, so that the light seat will be over the horse and not too far forward. In the second picture, he's sitting down, and I'm reminding him of the growing upwards. Here we have the first video of Antti. Here you see what kind of riding he has been doing. He's riding trotting, rising trot with quite a long rein. He has been also riding with me outside. First, I had him by the halter, and then we would let go of the halter, and the horse was following my horse. And he has been also cantering that way, but not taking the canter himself and not influencing the horse, but mostly following the horse. I'm thinking in every situation with every rider that it needs to be safe, it needs to be fun, and it needs to be effective. And the safety starts with making sure that the horse feels okay and can be calm and relaxed in the situation. And when the horse is that is already safety for the rider. And for the rider to have fun, he needs to feel safe. But then the effective part is also important because we want to learn to ride. So here we're working on a square. This is quite a big arena, so I have made a smaller area and marked the corners with some poles. And Antti's exercise is to learn to ride the corners, how to ride the corners. And this is the first time he is doing this exercise and working with this thing. I prefer to mark the corners this way and not to have some object that the rider will ride around. This way, the rider really needs to think about the how to ride the corner and not only go around something. Here we have the next video going to the other direction. Both horses and riders always have differences in the directions. Here the horse is a little bit slowing down when she comes to a corner. She is more thinking of the corner as a half halt in this direction. and Antti needs to figure out how to manage his own body in the corner. Then that starts by turning his eyes and then turning himself. Not doing anything with the hands really, but the hands are following his body when he's turning. We go on to the next rider. And we are continuing to work with corners. Now with this rider, we will do it in canter. This is Kaisa. And the history with this horse is that the horse had some problems with his own balance, which resulted in behavior where the horse was turning around and getting away. So Kaisa had been falling a couple of times badly when we started working together 2 years ago, and we mostly worked with the balance of the horse, first from the ground and then in the riding. And then, of course, we have been working quite holistically with both horse and rider, with both minds and both bodies. And this is the first lesson that we have the double bridle on the horse. One thing where you could see the balance problems of this horse was that in canter, he put the rider to ride backwards. If you know the centered riding exercise of how to feel in your own body that the center is moving in the right direction. So this horse really made that impossible. But now we are already this far with him that the rider can follow the canter that goes the right way. The corners is very good for training the center and grow in a rider. We'll take the next video. Turns and speed always makes the rider go to the outside, or that is the direction. And then the rider needs to arrange herself not to let that happen. So when you ride into a corner, to think about centering and growing makes you more stable and makes you staying with the horse. And it might be a good idea in the corner to think about growing more on the inside than the outside. So the rider thinks about growing her inside, her helmet up to the sky and her foot down to the ground. We are here also working with the transitions between canter and walk. And that is already quite difficult for this horse. The cantering is now okay, but the transitions is the next step of development. And we take it soft and slow, so there is a clear task for this, but it's not a problem if the horse doesn't come to walk really immediately. We give him some time to find out how to arrange his body to do these transitions. And then we have the other direction. all horses and riders have differences in the directions. And Kaisa has made quite a lot of work also with her own body, training body awareness methods and body control exercises. And this horse is very sensitive to every change that Kaisa makes with her own body. Which makes it very interesting to work with this horse and rider, but of course it can sometimes be frustrating for the riders that to have such a sensitive horse. So here we see that the transitions to walk is still something to work on. Then we have our fourth rider, Mia, who is a Grand Prix rider and a trainer. She's riding dressage, competing in dressage. Before, she has been also jumping and starting young horses. And when you train a rider on this level, the training is a lot of discussion. She has already a system of her own, very far developed system. She knows what works and what doesn't. So I am helping her in this and not changing everything. This horse that she's riding here is her own bred. And he is in the process to start to go to Grand Prix the next season. What is a special thing with this horse is that he is naturally lower in his pelvis on the left side, which makes a challenge for the rider to stay in the middle and to stay really on top of him in the different movements. The last riders here work with the corners, Antti in walk and Kaisa in canter. And now we are going with the same idea, but one step further, working with the half pass in canter. And now here you can look when you see Mia from behind, you can see if she's straight or not, and think about that the horse is lower on the left side. So this half pass to the right is really a challenge for her. I'm trying to help her to stay on her right seat bone, to grow on her right side. And this half pass to the left, that's a bit easier to sit there because he is dropping to the left, but still needs her idea of growing to stay in the middle. And then we go on with the next exercise, which is still more difficult, and that would be the canter pirouettes. And she starts with a little bit bigger circle, and then she goes smaller and smaller, giving the horse time to find out what to do, but also giving herself time to explore the things that we have been working with here. I've done some body work with her in the beginning of the lesson, and now we're trying out the things in the riding. And here, now when you see the pirouette to the right, we have again this thing that the horse is dropping the rider to the left. And since the pirouette is still much more going to the side, going steeper to the side than the half pass, it needs even more awareness and stability from the rider. And one challenge is to do this softly, following the horse, but not letting the horse put the rider in a wrong place. take this once more, and you can really follow how she is step by step asking the horse, helping the horse if needed, and at the same time focusing on her own body, focusing on her center, being in her staying in her center, turning with her center, and growing upwards and growing downwards, which would be also called grounding. When you really focus on getting things better, there is the risk that you will get stiff. And here she is working with also with that she will stay supple in her body and supple with the horse in the communication with the horse. So there we have the riders in this video. Take the presentation away. I hope I had been able to give you some inspiration and ideas for your own riding and for your students. You can use these exercises like this, but please feel free to develop them, take them further, and make your own versions of them, because that's the way we learn, both as riders and as teachers. Thank you for listening.